before the universe began, you just have boundless, empty, void space. Okay, it's a void decays into something. All right, so the space is 1 and 0. It's neutronic, static, unchanging because it's just space. There's no boundary to it. It has no. It's just one size, and that's infinite. Okay, it doesn't change. Only space in between particles in it will change. Because of moving particles, space will increase between them, but the overall size of space is the same space. It's infinite. It's static. So space is static. Space itself is static. The universe is finite. All right. So the void decays into point particles, okay, which are quarks, micronuclear energy, okay, alpha decay, micronova. It's cold right now. No color charge. So you have all these little point particles popping in and out of existence because a void has nuclear energy in it because it's a void. It has potential and it wants to decay also. All right. So you have cold alpha decay. All right, this is actually a Bose Einstein condensate. All right, because this is like carbon. These are point particles. They're like micronova. So just like a supernova, it's based on thermodynamics: heat, hot and cold, carbon, ashes. See, and helium-4 nuclei and alpha particles are pretty much the same thing. And that's the only particle we can turn into helium-4 nuclei. And that's mainly because it's protons and neutrons, just like this ends up becoming. All right, so you have your alpha, which is decay, nuclear energy, which is cold, your male energy, which is hot, and it's your father. Hence, alpha, nuclear, male, father. All of that's the same. All right, and this is your holy father because it's holy. This is like a holy superatom. Because space is holy due to the fact it's a whole of space and it's the whole of everything. And I think that's one of the parts of literature that why it falls into place it does. And it's completely neutral and pure. It's holy, it's pure. Like clean. Because a void is perfectly clean. It's just a void. So you have the nuclear energy floating around in it. Your holy father. And ironically, this is smoke-like. See, Bose Einstein condensate is like smoke-like. And this is where I think the term holy smoke comes in. Holy smokes. Just ironic, this stuff like that falls into place. A lot of the literature just falls into place with all of this theory. So I call this Bose-Einstein nuclear cloud that collapses, okay? It's warming up, becoming hot, okay? So it warms up, it collapses, it becomes hot. And that's the singularity, okay? So it's like a diamond in the sky, literally, because it's based on carbon, ash, nuclear energy, hot, cold. It's ash. So it's basically a diamond in the sky. Carbon, a big neutron star, or the phoenix rising from the ashes, so to speak, that falls into place again with this kind of stuff, So you have your carbon nucleonic star. It's literally an atomic neutron star. Big giant neutron in the sky. And this big giant neutron star goes through beta decay, just like a neutron would when you put it alone in space. It decays into a proton and an electron. And a photon. Or neutrino, my bad, I can't remember. It's a neutrino. But anyway, because you have that neutral static there. So your neutron starts to literally inflate, okay? So now it becomes a photosphere, because all of that proton and electron energy that started decaying, when it started decaying into the protons and electrons, it's loose plasma. It's literally like a big giant atom. It's like the first atom, I guess, So it's a giant inflated macro atom. And it blows up, spewing protons, neutrons, and electrons into space. All right? And the flash is the ether. That's the light. Which all the gods breathed the light, which is the ether and all this stuff, Because scientists say the ether doesn't exist, but that's definitely the proto-light that flashed in the universe. If you take something and you record it blowing up like a firecracker, then you put it on high-speed photography, hundreds, even thousands of frames per second, you're going to see a split-second flashlight. Even as fast as you're looking at that thing with so many frames, you're still only going to see a flash of light. That's the ether. All right? We have to use high and low speed photography to actually understand what happened back then because of the scale that this is. All right? Because of macrocosm, the nutricosm, which is the fundamental relativity, and the microcosm, which is quantum theory. All right? They're merged with this theory. But there's a lot of other stuff you have to know besides just how the singularity formed. So like everything else, it spits smaller copies of itself into space. Like seahorses, or like we do with the female energy. You know, just male and female energy did this. Male and female energy that govern the whole universe in every way. Space is the mediator. Space is female in nature because it's space. And that space, which is female, decays into the male nuclear alpha, which is XY. And then a male energy in biophysics is YX, because he's passed a Y chromosome, but on that Y chromosome it has mitochondria, which is the X chromosome. Okay? So it has... I'm going to start getting ahead of myself. All right? I'll throw it in here just to show you and put it in perspective in a second. So as this spews forth the protons, neutrons, and electrons, spews forth, now, and I don't use that lightly, okay? Spews forth. It's a natural, it's an element of nature, okay? And I think this is a misconception with a lot of religions talking about, oh, conception, and this is, you know, I mean, it is sacred in a way, you know, but it's not like a great sin to have sex, okay? It's not, to procreate. That is what makes you a god, because you conceive a life form yourself, a conscious, conceivable life form that can create life itself. That's one aspect of us being gods. And if we were unified and we're in harmony, there's no technological advance we couldn't accomplish. And that would make us godlike. Okay? And that's what these things try to say, but I'm not going to get into the religions and stuff. Them and the governments pervert everything that it was supposed to mean. I'm just going to throw it out there. So the simplest atoms form, okay, which is going to be hydrogen, and then you're going to have helium, and then lithium, and so on and so forth. The rest is history. All right? But I'll show you the YX and the X factors. And I think this is the why they teach this YX stuff in school. All right. So you have your sperm right here. Okay. This is the Y chromosome. Okay. But on its back, it has mitochondria. That's YX. Okay. Then you have the ovum. Okay. This is ovum. Ironically, it looks like a star. All right. So then you have YXX or YXXX. All right. Depending on how you're looking at it. Now you have space, which is X, because it's an area for incubation, so to speak, in nature. It decays into the alpha, like I was explaining earlier, the nuclear energy. All right, that's the nuclear energy which will decay. All right, so that's your Y. And when it decays, it becomes the X again. So now you have this X factor. The one true God, the God of them all, is female. Literally, the main God that created everything, which is space, is female in nature. Sorry, dudes. It's a fact. Fact of science, and it can be proven. All right. So, now that female decays into this male, and this male decays into the female also. And these two forces mediate and govern everything in the universe, nuclear and electric. All right. So now, like I was saying, see how it's hot, and it wants to go to a lower state. Okay, the singularity, when it heats up. So it goes into a lower state by turning into matter, which is this nuclear and electric energy in warm state. That's what matter is. It's like frozen energy, but it's not cold frozen like a Bose Einstein Condensate. It's like in a medium warm temperature. You know, even though an asteroid might be in space that's really, really cold, the temperature of that asteroid still is different than that space. It's not in a thermal equilibrium anymore. See, a thermal equilibrium is when all the space around it has the same temperature. Like, say, in a combustion engine, if you have the pistons, which is hot, and the block of the engine, which is the cold, if the block of the engine was the same temperature as what's going on in your cylinder, you're not going to have any fire. You can't get any combustion because everything's the same temperature. You have no potential difference there. It's all based on thermodynamics. They need to look at it in a simpler, more fundamental way, which explains a lot what these religions were talking about, because they understood it in a fundamental way, hot and cold. I mean, they're more simple. They're not stupid. They're just more simple. And they understood the laws of thermodynamics. I'm just saying, the alpha and omega, alpha, beta, omega. So whenever this matter, what's this matter going to do? It's going to even go back into a lower state. So over billions and billions and billions of years, the universe is going to decay and reduce into ash. And it's going to become cold ashes of carbon again. And get this, carbon, hydrogen, helium, lithium. There's a triple alpha, I call it a reverse triple alpha process. Basically what it is when carbon, as this thing is a big neutron star, reduces and it's going to eventually, after it forms all these protons, neutrons, electrons, and spews them out, and it's going to form hydrogen, helium, and lithium as its primary constituents, which you put hydrogen, helium, and lithium together, you'll get carbon. If you fused them together, you literally would get carbon. Because that's literally how it works. That's as simple as doing it. That's as simple as it means. Okay, that's as simple as it means. Doing it is a lot harder, but it can be done. You have to understand you need 3 unified fields. You need 3 forces in a unified field, not 4. The fourth one is electromagnetism. That is what you're going to sweep. That's the energy you want, okay? You don't put the electromagnetism in there. You only need gravity, your nuclear energy, and your electrical energy. Oh, look, I'll show you. All right, so you only need your nuclear core, your nuclear energy. Spin it really fast because you want to generate gravity, all right? You want to put a force on it. So you spin it really, really fast, okay? Then you hit it with the electron volt. Boom. All those electrons are going to want to go to the closest, most positive area you can possibly get, and you're going to have a fusion. You're going to have a fusion process. You're literally getting cold fusion, okay? But the thing is with it, you got to sweep that energy off because those 3 are going to create electromagnetism. And if you don't sweep that energy, it's going to burn out. And that's why they keep having a problem with this fusion generator, okay? Magnetic islands and such. And it's been taking so long and all this. They got the unified field screwed up. I'm just saying it. Look, it's just a theory I've been working on. Anybody's free to try to debunk it. That's all. I'm putting out, this is my conviction, okay? I wish or someone would debunk it or do something, all right? I'm just saying, don't just throw me under the bus and then have no logical theory of your own. I'm just saying, okay? This is, I'm trying to answer some questions for us here. I'm trying to answer some questions for us. I've been doing it for 35 years, literally since I was 5 years old. Literally. I mean, understanding this field here, quantum thermodynamics, that apparently they don't focus on for some reason. It's always the Big Bang Theory, which I can throw the Big Bang Theory under the bus myself. But it's understanding a field, how 3 fundamental forces created the 4th fundamental forces, all 4 of them. All right, now get this. This is the Y factor. This is the sperm, so to speak, right here. All right, your YX. Okay, since you have your nuclear core, this is your limbic brain right here, the limbic system, the core of your brain, all right? This is the mitochondria on your back. This mitochondria is going to fuse with the female mitochondria. This is going to create your cerebellum, okay? And then the growth, the alpha, beta, omega. You see what I'm saying? You get your cerebral cortex from your mother. You get your cerebellum from your mother and father. You get your limbic system, your primary brain, from your father. You see what I'm saying? This right here, this is your pineal gland. What this does is it bridges these together, okay? The 2 petals on a third eye chakra is your pineal gland and your pituitary gland. The 2 mediators of your body, which create hormones, growth hormones, energy, mitochondrial aspects, all kinds of cellular energy that makes your body function, helps it function, and maintain a homeostasis. So the nuclear energy is bridged with your pineal gland into the cerebellum, all right? And your cerebellum helps synchronize your 2 brains here. This is a 3rd brain, or you can consider this your paralimbic system or supralimbic system here an extension brain of your limbic system, okay? So you'll essentially have 1, 2, 3, 4 brains in your head, 1 in your heart because it's neural, and 1 in your stomach, and because they can work on their own. The reason why your stomach and your heart can work on their own is because if you have any kind of spinal injuries, your heart can still operate and keep you alive, and your stomach can still function to some point. And plus, it's connected to, they're pretty much connected to your limbic brain. It's an instinct factor with emotions and feelings. So if you have a real bad gut feeling about something, that's your core, your instinct brain in your limbic system here, or your reptilian brain, telling you something is instinctively wrong. And sometimes gut feelings, in fact, a gut feeling is never wrong. If you know what a real gut feeling is, trust me. Now, I was showing someone else this about, if you like car stereos, okay, this is the data, this is the nuclear energy, the Y factor. Okay, this is like a car stereo. It's the data. It's the same information you're going to get to keep a person alive. It's the data, all right? Then you have an amplifier, all right? That's what this is. It amplifies to keep these 2 amplified, and really amplifies your cerebral cortex, okay? That's your cerebellum. This amplifies, or is an amplifier, okay? Then you have your transmitters and receivers. That's your cerebral cortex. You have your cerebral hemispheres. All right, because your brain is a transmitter and a receiver, and a speaker or subwoofer is a transmitter and a receiver because it's a microphone or a speaker. All right, so your brain is a transmitter and receiver, and I don't know why. I mean, I work on car stereos and stuff like that. I mean, I dabble in everything. All right, and it just seems there's a whole pattern to the universe and even our technology. I mean, imagine, okay, this is like an electric motor. You have your stator, which is your nuclear energy, or your core, or your rotor, and then you have your stator, which cases the rotor. All right, then you have it in its case, ironically, like the Higgs field or the square in a circle, the square in space, the perfect cube or whatever. So the Higgs field is basically 12 dimensions. It's bicubic area, a y-axis and an x-axis. See, there are actually 12 conceivable dimensions to space. See, this is talking about 11 dimensions, multidimensional in the brain, okay? The 11, okay? There are actually 12. The 12th dimension is you, okay? The 12th dimension is you, what exists, the reality. But we live in a three-dimensional reality, but when the 12 conceivable dimensions of the universe, we are the 12th dimension. Okay, this right here is basically an octagon. Okay, it has the 8 points, the Higgs field. Okay, you have 8 lobes of your cerebral cortex, and that's the field that is you. Okay, that's the Higgs field. That's the singularity. That's the brain. That's the birth of the universe right there in the brain. That's where the singularity or the Higgs field was contained, which birthed the universe. You see what I'm saying? Everything in nature mirrors everything else. But there's a pattern you have to understand with nuclear and electric energy, and you can't dismiss what religions are saying. You just can't, because they understood things in hot and cold. Okay, and it seems goofy the way they explain it, and it makes it really hard to understand. You know, but if you understand what alpha and omega are, it puts you on a track, and then the more you keep looking, the more you keep finding. See, this is unified field theory, but it's the unified field. It's not a theory. It might be my theory, but it's actually real. I know this is real, and not all this came to me while I was awake. I'll put it that way, okay? I mean, you might say, "Oh, John, you're dreaming. You're dreaming then." Okay, look, if I'm dreaming, debunk it. That's all. That's all I want someone to do is say, "Hey, John, you know what? That can't happen because of this," and break out a real, actual, logical, rational reason why it can't happen. Because that's all I base this off of is rationality, logic, and the information that we have at our fingertips, religions, and science. Because after all, philosophy is the heart or X factor, and science is the male or Y factor, the brain. You see what I'm saying? See, this is one reason why females are a little more emotional than guys. Okay? And I'm not trying to throw anybody on the bus or make it sound sexist or anything like that, so don't start judging me over this, okay? Because it fits, all right? It fits. And we get our heart from our mom, okay? We get our heart from our moms. We get our cerebral cortex from our mom. And that is philosophical. You know, that's the philosophical side of looking at things. You know, looking at it in a more fundamental way, in a more rational way. Science is the brain, the male, you know, being that hot shit, the alpha male. Oh, I gotta be correct, you know. I mean, and you can assume that I'm trying to be that way. I'm not. I'm trying to put things into perspective for people, because I can't know all this. Everything, what this has told me is by understanding all this, I really didn't know anything, okay? And I still don't, okay? I might know quite a bit, all right? Quite a bit. But there's no possible way anyone can know it all. And what I'm trying to do is helping people get on this track, because I know there's stuff that I can't find or I won't be able to run into that I know someone else will be able to be able to add to this theory. Because everything in the universe now, if we understand this, we can break every bit of it down. Even on our cellular biology, we can understand what dark matter is. It's sound. All right, look, a star is really loud, okay? There's no air in space, so the sound can't propagate like dominoes falling over, propagate forward. But it does linger, like smoke. It's an invisible smoke. It's sound, though. It's sound waves. And what does it do? Well, look what sound waves do to matter. Look up the sand experiments with sound. It makes patterns and all kinds of crazy stuff. It gives the sand or the matter energy, momentum, vibration, okay? That's what this dark matter bubble around our galaxy is, okay? It's a sound frequency around our galaxy, helping it spin and move. It's giving it momentum. All right? See, all that energy is lingering. And what does sound do? See, when you yell in a gym that's empty, you can hear the echo, echo, echo. But you fill it with couches and then yell, it's going to sound more close to you, and it's not really going to echo that much, because all of that matter, all those couches in that gym, are absorbing that sound wave. You see what I'm saying? So the sound wants to go toward the matter, and if it's got no space in it, it can move, or if it's just in space and it can move, it's got free momentum to move however it wants. It's going to push it. It's going to move it somehow. It's going to give it that extra push, and that's why galaxies, each galaxy has a unique song of the stars, a unique signature, okay? The sound of God. If you heard a star, if you were close to a star and just heard it, it would blow you to pieces. It would atomize you. The sound would atomize you, So this sound bubble is unique to each galaxy because each galaxy has unique amount of stars and light output. You know what I'm saying? A certain specific song of the stars. I'm never going to be able to make it. This video would be hours and hours long if I kept throwing out stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and stop. But if anyone sees how this makes sense with everything, let me know. And, if it's, if there's something wrong, or if you got something to throw in there that, is like, hey, I figured something out too, let me know, If you can debunk it, that's cool. Debunk it. But it seems kind of solid.